Hey everyone, Stephen here, Autistic YouTuber, and welcome to Toastamac. Every now and then I would join in on a conversation or read a YouTube comment about someone mentioning a trait they have that could be tied to autism, which is usually followed up with, but I don't know if I actually could be autistic. Here's the thing. It is possible for someone to show autistic traits and not be autistic. And although there are many elements to consider depending on the individual, determining if a trait could potentially be connected to autism is actually a bit easier than you think, if you know what to look for. Right out the gate, you might be asking, how can someone show autistic traits and not be autistic? What you need to understand is that these are autistic traits second, and human traits first. These are a part of our everyday lives that we have to live with. Do you feel a need to have a schedule, routines, and rituals? So do people who go to school or go to work. We need this consistency in our lives, along with the sense of predictability in order for everything to run smoothly. Do you have a strong passion for your field of interest? The same can be said for scientists, sports analysts, archaeologists, technologists, musicians, bakers, chefs, gamers, dancers, botanists. The list goes on. And not all of them are autistic. What about more specific traits like being a great problem solver, having sensory sensitivities, experiencing meltdowns, or feeling overwhelmed? Guess what? Even neurotypicals have to deal with that. It's just that some deal with it better than others. I'm starting to see where you're getting at. But if what you say is true, then what exactly makes a trait an autistic trait in the first place? Good question. After doing some research, which I usually do, there are three main factors to think about: functionality, consistency, and impact. Functionality refers to how something can be practical or useful. What are some of the traits that show up in your daily life? Is this something that you just like to do, or does it serve a deeper purpose? Even before doing all this YouTube stuff, I had always loved to create things, be it photos, videos, paintings, drawings, ceramics, sculptures, you name it. I've probably done it at least once. Doesn't mean I like all of them, especially not sculptures. Ugh. However, this was not all fun and games for me. No. Every time I got to work on an art project was another opportunity for me to improve my creativity, which, if you recall, is also about critical thinking and problem solving, not just arts and crafts. How about consistency? How often does a trait show up in your daily routine? Is this something you picked up recently or something you've had for a long period of time? Ever since childhood, I had always loved to daydream. Every single day, every chance I get, I would get away from the real world and live these exuberant lives in my head. And, if I'm not careful enough and not paying attention, this could affect my work routines more times than I would like to admit. The last factor is the most significant, in my opinion anyway: impact. How do these traits affect your life? How deeply do they affect your life? Is this from a want or a need? Is this something you can go 1 or 2 days without or not? I usually do my best to focus on script writing and video editing, but frequently I feel this urge to get up and pace, like my body tells me, hey, it's time to pace, and my mind's like, okay. The pacing by itself may not sound too different, but here's where it differentiates for me. A neurotypical in general might be able to stop whenever they want. For me, it's not that simple. It feels like I have to pace for an X amount of time to release excess energy, get my thoughts together, or at the very least, keep my legs from going stiff. It's not so easy for me to stop on command, and it's something I need to work on. Now, of course, these 3 factors by themselves are probably not going to be enough to answer all of your questions. What it does is serve as a good starting point, so you can begin to answer at least some of those questions. So, use these 3 factors as you analyze your daily routines. See what you can discover. To help paint a better picture, we found an article that included an interesting example about some differences between autistic people and introverts. I'll leave a link to the article in the video description below, in case you want to read more about it later. The example is how autistic people and introverts may use solitude to recharge themselves. Let's look at this using the 3 factors that Stephen just mentioned. For functionality, introverts may use time away to recharge after feeling drained from long periods of socializing. This could be just exhaustion from talking to so many people for so long, and it might not have much to do with sensory issues or their ability to pick up on social cues. The same can't be said for many autistic people, though, as their sensory sensitivities and struggles with social settings can add a whole new layer of difficulty for them. Now we look at the second factor, consistency. Because of the aforementioned difficulties, many autistic people may have to withdraw from social settings more often, and perhaps for longer periods of time than an introvert who is not autistic. Remember, introverts in general may or may not have the same extra baggage that autistic people in general have to deal with. So, it's possible that an introvert might be able to get back into the game much sooner. Lastly, we have impact. How do their traits affect them? For a lot of autistic people, their struggles with social communications combined with their sensory sensitivities can make it more difficult to form meaningful connections with others. More often than not, they have to work even harder just to make new friends. Whereas with a lot of introverts, it could be as simple as taking more time to open up to someone, or just simply conserving social energy. It is possible for someone to be both autistic and an introvert, but with this breakdown, the distinction should be a little bit more clear. For more information on this, go check out the article I mentioned. The only question left to answer is, why is this distinction between autistic traits and actually being autistic so important anyway? Well, that's easy to answer. What if these traits are not connected to autism, but something else entirely? These traits in question could also be connected to ADHD, ADD, OCD, dyslexia, Fragile X syndrome. It could be a different disability, or maybe it's not a disability at all. Maybe it's just a part of your life. There are too many possibilities out there for someone to just quickly conclude, oh, that's autism. This is starting to sound very similar to what you said in a previous video. The one where you were talking about self-diagnosis, right? Exactly. And we know there are a lot of people that do self-diagnosis. There is no law that says you can't, but is the diagnosis accurate? Did you get to the right answer? Much like I said in that video, it all boils down to one thing. What is it that you want? Are you looking for answers or something more tangible? Are you looking for acceptance and closure or resources and services? What is it that you're looking for? If you're just looking for answers and acceptance and nothing else, then by all means, go ahead and give a self-diagnosis a try. Just make sure that your research is thorough, and most of all, that you are honest with yourself, which, believe me, is harder than you think. But if you are looking for resources and services to help you, then you're going to want to talk to a medical professional, or two if you want, to get the official diagnosis and the paperwork that goes with it. So what will it be? Will you choose one route or the other? The choices are yours and yours alone. Oh, and for those on the outside looking in, if you see someone and could be thinking, wait a minute, could this person be autistic? Don't be hasty. You might not know the whole story. In any event, I hope this video helps you out with the distinction between autistic traits and actually being autistic. Of course, if you want to ask any more questions about this or want to share your experience on the matter, tell us about it in the comments section below. With that, we have arrived at the end. Thank you for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and a special shout out to Help Autism Center for becoming a member of the Toastamac Chow Club. You could get shout outs like this too, as well as other perks, like early access to my videos, so consider becoming a member today. Oh, for the month of September, I will be taking a break from making autism videos, but don't worry, you'll still have the live streams and shorts to look forward to. Until the next video or live stream, see you later.